All right, so first I want to start this video off by saying shout out to Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Huey Newton, all the Black Panthers, civil rights people. Like, man, shout out to all of them, the NAACP. I don't mean no harm by this video. I'm just coming across some stuff and thought I'd make a little video on it. So I'm gonna try to make this quick. Now, if you haven't seen, like, we all know Martin Luther King, he liked white women or whatever. If you haven't seen the movie Selma, go watch that. And there's a document. It's a document on the internet you could look up called Martin Luther King Jr. A Current Analysis, which is, it kind of goes through like some corrupt stuff going on, like political stuff. But I'm not gonna get on any of that. I'm gonna kind of get on, I guess, his sexual affairs he had and shit like that, just to kind of shed some light on it for people who don't know, because some of this stuff is even new to me. Now. Hold on. So, and this is my theory, man. I feel like the whole civil rights movement, like, and I'm not trying to discredit anything they did, or like Martin Luther King and people like that did. Like, we came a long way because of them, and they did a lot of great things for the community. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of it was sex driven, because you got to think about this. Back in like slave days, man, black men, like, they wanted all the white slave owners' daughters and all that. They wanted to get back at the white man, And to this day, it's still going on. Like, you see a lot of black dudes with white women, and I think it's a genetic thing. It's like inherited that, black men really want white women because of slavery, and it's just to get back at them or something like that, So look. And I think a lot of civil rights activists were on that shit. They was fucking white women on the side. They was smashing white women. Like, they was knocking them down, man. I don't know. I haven't read anything about, like, Malcolm X, but I'm pretty sure he had, Malcolm X was like, what, 6'4", 6'5". He was a tall dude, tall, light-skinned brother, man. Matter of fact, actually, no. Malcolm X, he started off, he was only fucking with, he was cheating on his wife, I think, with a white woman. Or some shit like that. Like, I think he was pimping. If I'm not mistaken, I read his book. I read it like way back when I was a teenager, but from what I remember, and I saw the movie, like, Malcolm X, I think he was pimping. He was in the streets, like, he was doing his thing. And I don't know about after he became Muslim. I don't know exactly what he had going on, but Malcolm X, he was on that white girl shit, man. Martin Luther King, same thing. He loved white women. Like, these dudes, man, and I think the civil rights movement was not only used to get equal rights for black people, but it was used so these black leaders, and you a black leader in the community, you smashing. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're smashing on the low, like on the back end. On the front end, everything is political. Everything is, free the people and or whatever, power to the people. I dig that. But these dudes are smashing. They are smashing. These dudes are some players, dog. I'm telling you. So look, so Martin Luther King, in the document. So in the document, it repeatedly referred to some of the alleged sex acts King engaged in as unnatural and abnormal, whatever the hell that means. Hold on. One quote says, one Negro minister in attendance later. All right, so this is in reference to an event mentioned in the document, which is like a workshop that Martin Luther King held in Miami, Florida in February 1968 with funds from the Ford Foundation to train black ministers in leadership. And it's a lot of, it's some shit that alleged that he spent church money because he was heavy, heavy into the church, into Christianity. And there's some alleged information that he spent church money on prostitutes, on white prostitutes, which is crazy to me. But, so anyway, so something is quoted. It says, one Negro minister in attendance later expressed his disgust with the behind-the-scene drinking, fornication, and homosexuality. I don't know what that is about. That went on at the conference. Several Negro and white prostitutes were brought in from the Miami area. An all-night sex orgy was held with these prostitutes and some of the delegates in attendance. So it's alleged that he was participating in a lot of sex orgies, which is like back in the 50s and 60s and shit. It's not unheard of. That shit is not unheard of. That shit was going on. Like, no social media back then. So a lot of shit was swept under the rug and not really, investigated like that. So, I believe some of this, and apparently the night before he was killed, he was with, they say he was with 3 white women the night before he was killed. So he was getting it on, like he was doing his thing. Martin Luther King, all right, so how they describe him, so on Google they say, in this article I should say, they describe him as a serial adulterer. What the hell is a serial adulterer? And a horn dog. A horn dog and a serial adulterer. Like, they just trying to just smut his name. Like, okay, I get it. He was married, cheating on his wife, smashing prostitutes, using church money to buy prostitutes, smashing all the white girls. Like, okay, I get it. I get it. I understand why they would call him a serial adulterer, a horn dog. I'm not gonna say he was a player. I'm not gonna say he was a player, because if he was using if he was using the church as a front to feed his sexual fantasies, then yeah, he shouldn't be doing that. And I'm not on the whole church thing or nothing like that, but I'm just saying, like, that's crazy. I mean, I have Martin Luther King, man, he's still, I still respect it, man, because of the good he's done, but that's crazy when you really when you really read up on this shit, man. It's wild. It's wild, man. But I mean, he at the end of the day, he wasn't perfect. He was a regular dude. Now, I'm not saying most regular dudes are just buying white prostitutes with church money and shit like that, or whatever the hell, or doing orgies and unusual sex acts, whatever that means. I don't even know what that means. I really have no idea what an unusual sex act is. So, but yeah, and Ralph Abernathy, I think is his name. He wrote a book called what was it called? And the Walls Came Tumbling Down, which is a book you should check out. Which is like, and Ralph Abernathy was a close friend of Martin Luther King, so that's another thing that you can look into if you're into that type of stuff. So he kind of told a lot that went on with MLK and his sexual affairs and all that shit. So let's move on here. He said in what book was it? It was some book. So Ralph Abernathy, he was quoted saying that MLK had a particularly difficult time with that temptation. That temptation is women. That was one of his vices. Let's move on here. What else do we got? According to Pulitzer Prize winning biographer David Garrow, King's philandering ways were an open secret among civil rights activists. So this was something known amongst other activists. So this is what I'm saying. Like, a lot of these dudes they was getting it in. They was getting it in, man, with a lot of white women. Not just white women, but, all races. But like I said, you're an activist. Back then, back then, people like Martin Luther King and the leaders in the activist world and shit, they were looked at as they were like celebrities, man. They were celebrities. So if you were at the head of these movements, even if you were involved with it, you're getting residual, like if they wanted to kill the leader, then I guarantee it's a few soldiers that's getting killed too. So if the leader is smashing all these broads, if you're a Black Panther or something, you smashing some broads too. It's like how these rappers now, they get all whatever you think they get all the girls or whatever. They really don't. But they get girls, and then they pass down girls to dudes that are in their entourage. It's the same. It was the same thing. These were the Black celebrities back then. These were the Black rappers. These were they were the equivalent of Black musicians back then. You know what I mean? So I don't think they was making that much money, except from the community and all that shit who was donating to them. You know. So let's see, what else do we have? Some even warned King to rein in his compulsive sexual athleticism. Bro, come on, dog. Compulsive sexual athleticism. That means he was fucking. This man was smashing, dog. If somebody has to describe what you got going on as compulsive sexual athleticism, this means every city he was in, man, he was knocking something. Whether it was a prostitute or just some white girls throwing it at him. What, like, dog? I've never heard that before. Compulsive sexual athleticism. That's crazy. That's wild. I've never heard that shit. Never until I'm gonna start though. All right, but Garrow claims King was unrepentant, telling one associate. So he tells somebody, "I'm away from home 25 to 27 days a month. Fucking's a form of anxiety reduction." Dog, that sounds like a truck driver or something. I'm away from home 25 to 27 days a month. Fucking's a form of anxiety reduction. Is that not true? If you're, man, look, can y'all blame him? Can y'all blame Martin Luther King for this? Can y'all, like, I'm not saying cheating on your wife and shit is cool. You know, because Coretta Scott was bad. So we know that MLK, man, he liked them bad, man. He liked them baddies. He was getting baddies, man. Look, this dude, man, you cannot tell me. I always knew MLK was like on some player shit. I always knew he was. I always knew he was like on some fly shit. Like he was, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he was a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, shit is crazy, man. It's crazy. So I believe it, man. Same thing with Malcolm X. I don't think that Malcolm X turned Muslim and just was completely just, maybe towards the end of his life, when he started to kind of look at his actions and be like, damn, you know, he started to kind of side with Martin Luther King. And he felt like, what was it called? I think Malcolm X felt like segregation. Like we should be Malcolm X at first felt like we should be segregated from the white people. Like we should have our own shit and all that. But then in MLK, he felt like we should all integrate. We should all be as one. And towards the end of Malcolm X's life, that's how he started to feel. So I feel like maybe he was on some like more clear-headed shit, Malcolm X. But I think that Malcolm X also was like smashing some white girls. He was on that same shit. Like I said, Malcolm X was like a 6 foot something light skinned brother, man. And he was already on like some white girls when he was younger. And then he got locked up and then boom, boom, boom. But I don't think he was completely just reformed. I think he was still on that. And a lot of times, and it was a lot of activists who used it as a front to get with more women. So straight up, man. Straight up. So let's continue on here. Another King biographer, Taylor Branch, claimed that during King's trip to Norway to collect the 1964 Nobel Peace Prize, members of his entourage were discovered chasing after naked or near-naked prostitutes in an Oslo hotel. Branch even claimed that on one of the FBI's tapes of the happenings in King's hotel rooms, he can be heard shouting, "I'm fucking for God. I'm not a Negro tonight." Yo, that shit is crazy, man. That shit's crazy. Look, I'm gonna wrap this shit up, man, because this is, look, like I said, check out the book "And the Walls Came Tumbling Down" by Ralph Abernathy. And check out the document. Just Google it. Martin Luther King Jr., A Current Analysis. You know, it's some interesting shit you'll read up on. But like I said, no disrespect. I'm not trying to drag MLK through the mud. But this is just some interesting shit that I read up on. And, you know, thought I'd share this shit. So, the MLK, man, he was on some player shit. And I'm not surprised. You know, a lot of people in the civil rights movement was using it as a front to get more sex. Straight up. It is what it is. So, you know, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that MLK might have, like, you gotta think about it. He was probably, it was alleged that he was smashing some woman out in California or whatever, and she was married and shit. Imagine how many married women MLK was smashing. Do you think that might have had something to do with him getting killed? Not on some like, and he had some other political shit going on, behind the scenes that people don't know about. So it's a lot of reasons as to why this man could have got killed. He could have gotten himself killed. You know what I mean? We know why Malcolm X got killed. He felt like, or the Muslims felt like, he was, a traitor or whatever. MLK, he was smashing everybody's wife. You know what I mean? He was smashing all the broads. So somebody's husband probably paid somebody off to off MLK. So honestly, he probably got killed because he was smashing somebody's wife. Like you don't think about that shit. Think about that shit, man. Somebody's husband probably set up or probably paid the shooter to shoot MLK. They probably set him up. That's what I think, man. Because from what I'm getting, man, MLK was on some. He was a sleazeball, man. He was a sleazeball. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't know. Tell me what you think, man. It's some crazy shit, man.